My name is Nimra. My height is average. I am 27 years old, and I am very sweet and beautiful. My face is as lovely as a flower, and there is a lot of playfulness in my eyes. My cheeks are chubby and full, and my lips are lush. As it happened, I was about 16 years old when my final school exams were approaching. I wasn't a weak student, but I wasn't exceptionally smart either. Therefore, I needed help preparing for my exams. My aunt's son, Faraz, had just finished his bachelor's degree and lived near our house. I asked my mother, Amma Jan, to talk to Faraz and ask him to tutor me in his spare time. This way, I wouldn't have to travel far for classes, there would be no commuting hassles, and I wouldn't waste any time. That same day, my mother came back after talking to Faraz and told me she had spoken with him, and he would come to teach me every evening. That day, I quickly finished all my chores, took my books, and sat down to study in the living room. It must have been around 7:30 p.m. when Faraz arrived. Faraz was about 25 years old at the time. He was quite smart and handsome, around 180 centimeters tall, with a strong and fit build. His dark complexion was striking, and he looked sharp. After greeting me, he turned to me and said, "So, my student, are you ready to learn?" I nodded and said, "Yes." "Very well. Tell me, which subject do you feel you are weakest in?" Faraz took my book and flipped through it, his gaze fixed on the pages. He asked me another question, and I told him that I was weak in math and English. I sat there a bit stiffly, hesitating to speak. Faraz looked at me, put the book on the table, and said, "If you keep being this nervous and hesitant, I don't think I'll be able to get you to remember what I teach you. So there's no need to hesitate. We will study in a very friendly environment, and you will remember everything we learn." "Yes, that's better," I said, trying to look a bit more relaxed. I didn't study very well that first day. However, Faraz eased my doubts with his conversation and jokes. By then, I felt quite relaxed, so I began responding to his jokes with my own. My playful nature woke up. Faraz had me practice some math and then stood up, saying, "Let's start with English." My mother stopped him, saying, "Drink some tea at least before you leave." Faraz sat back down to have tea. After tea and a short chat, Faraz said he would return tomorrow at 7 p.m. and left. This routine continued for about 2 weeks. He was punctual, always arriving on time and finishing his work on schedule. He had a charming personality, and his teaching and explanation style was excellent. Because of this, I fell in love with Faraz and became quite good friends with him. One day, Faraz was helping me with math. When my mother brought tea, she put it on the table and said, "Drink it while it's hot." Saying this, she went back to the kitchen. When the tea was ready, I finished my work, took a cup, and tried to hand it to Faraz. But for some unknown reason, my hand shook, and the entire cup of tea spilled all over Faraz, soaking his pants and shirt. I was in shock. I ran to get a towel. I kept apologizing to Faraz while trying to wipe his shirt with the towel. "Are you burned?" I asked, continuously wiping with the towel. "The tea didn't burn me, but you are definitely going to burn me," Faraz said. I completely misunderstood his words and just kept wiping his shirt. I probably would have kept doing it for a while, but Faraz stopped me, lifted me by my shoulders, and said, "Stop it, doll. Everyone at home calls me that. It's fine. You're getting upset for no reason." But I felt so ashamed of myself that when I saw how kind he was being, tears welled up in my eyes. Seeing me cry, he hugged me, pulled me close, and kissed my forehead. "Why are you crying, silly girl? You didn't spill the tea on purpose. It was an accident." His comforting words gave me courage, and through my tears, I said, "I know it was an accident, but accidents are always the result of some mistake. And it's my fault." Perhaps Faraz also wanted to lighten the mood, so he said, "Girl, I give you permission to cause such accidents every day." The next evening, when Faraz arrived at our house, I had just stepped out of the shower. My hair was wet and still dripping. I clearly noticed Faraz looking at me repeatedly. I was already dreaming about Faraz, but now it seemed like something was happening in his heart as well. During our studies, strange thoughts crossed my mind. I didn't know what love was, but it was clear that the thought of Faraz comforted me. I had never experienced such a feeling before. And so, while Faraz was helping me with a math problem, I drew very close to him. I didn't do it on purpose, it just happened. Finally, at 9 p.m., Faraz stood up to go home, and I stood up too. As he passed by, he quietly said, "Girl, you look so beautiful today." I looked at him in surprise, but he had already walked away. His words rang in my ears all night. Perhaps it's true that women enjoy compliments so much. The next day, Faraz arrived on time. We had just started studying when the power went out. I stood up to light a candle and bring it over. Faraz took my hand and said, "Sit down, let's just talk. The electricity will be back soon." I sat down, and we began talking about different things. Faraz kept holding my hand, and though his love had completely captivated me and his charming personality fascinated me, I felt a bit awkward and unready. It was dark, and we couldn't see each other's facial expressions. Honestly, I liked his hand resting on mine, but a kind of internal fear held me back. If someone else had been in Faraz's place, I am sure I would have pushed their hand away. But for Faraz, I had already lost my heart. Still, I didn't want things to move too fast, began to feel strange, so I let go of Faraz's hand and stood up, pretending I needed to go to the restroom.